Hey everyone, and welcome to the Infinite Respawn podcast. I'm Chicken.
I'm Oak Tree.
I'm Grif.
Baka.
What's up, guys?
What up?
Baka,
It's only been
chicken.
like
Are you feeling
1
better?
million weeks.
Yes, I was feeling better the day after.
Baka, get better.
Baka takes forever to get over it.
At least he can talk.
Baka needs to be like just eating handfuls of vitamins all the time these days.
He needs one of them strong immune systems, like
Well, that's
me.
why you eat a bunch of vitamins. You gotta build it up.
No, whenever I start feeling sick, you just drink orange juice. Well,
That's the
what
new
works for
camera.
me.
It came with germs.
Ugh.
Made him all sick and stuff.
What games has everybody been playing this week?
2 weeks.
Not very many.
Whatever.
Yeah, the last 2 weeks. Not very many for me. I think I've been playing a lot of team fight tactics, a lot of ARMS, a little bit of Total War, and I played a new game. What?
Nothing. Nothing.
What's
I
that?
didn't say
Is
anything.
that somebody trying to insult my game? Do I need to come in there?
Maybe.
Throw you off this show? Okay, anyway. Newbie invited us to play a new game this weekend. It's free for this weekend and into tomorrow. It's called Rising Storm 2 Vietnam. It's a squad-based military sim, kind of like Squad. I don't know if you guys have ever played it, but
You've talked about
it's
it.
It's a 64-player game where you have 32 players on each team, and it's almost Call of Duty-esque, where you have to push into a point, take the point, then the next point unlocks, and you kind of keep pushing. You die pretty quickly, just a single shot or two.
So
and
it's realistic-ish.
Yeah, it's a heavy.
It's realistic,
heavy
except for they were playing as toy soldiers at one point when I saw it.
That's fun. It's a mod, and it's fun. But it's a really fun game. We played it a couple of times. As far as I can remember, I think that's all I've played.
Was there anything, because you said it's a free-to-play weekend for the game, right?
Yeah.
So is there anything, what's the price of the game normally, and is it worth the price? Because you played it.
$23 normally, and it's $9 on sale. No, my backlog is too full. But
is it? I'm asking for the people listening. Is it worth buying? Not is it worth you buying?
I don't know if you're into those games. I mean,
that is the best review ever. We should always say that for everything. Well, if you like the game, this type of games.
I think the way he's looking at it is it's a military shooter, and there's a lot of those. If military shooters are your thing, you'll probably like it because it's got a lot
You'll
of similar
probably have
mechanics.
already been playing it.
Well, that too.
Not necessarily. Some people might not have heard of it.
The difference, though, is if it's not like Call of Duty where it's just like run in and whoever's better. There's supposed to be some tactics and teamwork to it. Although the games we played last night, some of the people were
too Call of Duty-esque.
Yeah, they were just like running in and just trying to. It's like you have a rifle that shoots one bullet every time you hit the trigger. It's not automatic, and they're going in and it's they die.
You have to be
no tactics or anything to it.
Those are the same people that'll be like, "This game sucks, man. This is horrible."
Probably. There's also the issue of on one of the maps you play on, you have to come in by helicopter, land on the beach, and take over that point before you can start spawning over there. The game I played in,
that must be a different
none of the
campaign.
knew how to play.
Well, to be fair, it is free weekend, so.
Yeah, so it's a lot of new
They
people.
just kept flying in, and they wouldn't switch off. They wouldn't do. They just would fly in, and they didn't know how to land. They kept landing in the water. Yeah, it was a nightmare.
Fox said never again.
Well, there you have it.
I enjoyed it. I popped off a couple of times. Like, if you can get, like, a good angle. My auto gun, like, you can have it on auto or burst. When I switched to auto and started sniping bastards, oh, man. Sorry. I apologize. He's dreaming.
Oh. I was wondering what you were looking at earlier, I guess.
I'm sure you can hear that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's fine.
He just little.
He's squeaking back there. I'm trying to wake him up, but he ain't having it. He gone.
He said it's nap time.
Rube's like, nope.
Yep. But yeah, you gotta play very, very cautiously, Because that game, like, I don't know how many times I would spawn up, go to run to an area, and just die.
That happened a lot too. I like the army aspect of it because we're playing. Well, one of them is like a Christmas theme one where you have like the tree. You're in the lit living room and toys all over the place. The other one's in the backyard with the full party. You've got the noodles like for fridges and.
Yeah, the Army Men one, if we do play that one, I might play it on stream yesterday.
I might play it on stream yesterday.
It's Monday. It's Sunday for us, but it's Monday for everybody else who's watching this.
Okay.
So I might have played it yesterday.
I was like, so you're saying you might do it tonight for us that are actually here?
Yeah,
now.
I'm talking in the future.
All right, so otherwise, check out the VOD afterwards.
I might do it
for
yesterday. It's just like the most brain-breaking sentence.
Oh, we also played D&D too. So
yeah, we played fun learning experience. So yeah.
We also learned Snitty likes to take forever to shop.
There's always one in a party. Like always, there's always one person in a party that anytime there's shopping, that person takes the longest.
I am just excited that there's a Broomba back in the entire party.
It is the super deluxe traveling Broomba that also works as a mop and fits into a backpack.
Oh,
and it's fireproof.
And I'm
flame retardant. Yes.
It's flame retardant.
It's flame retardant. Flame retardant. You done?
But won't be if it's in lava.
Well, that's assuming that Kaysen lets you put it near lava. So take that. For those of you that don't know or haven't heard, in a previous D&D campaign, the party found something called a Broomba, which is basically, think about a Roomba, which is just a little robotic vacuum cleaner that cleans things, but it's medieval. So it's just a broom that has an enchantment on it to sweep, on its own, autonomously and whatnot. And they found one, and then, like, within 15 minutes of finding this incredible Broomba thing that the party liked, Baka's character used it to try to disarm traps and set it on fire and destroyed it, like, immediately. And the party was really upset about it.
Well, except Baka.
Well, they were. I didn't.
So I gave them a new one. And this time, Red's character is a necromancer, so I have a feeling that if Henry, which is Baka's character, decides to try to destroy the Broomba, that Kaysen will justifiably murder him and then resurrect him as a skeleton to do his bidding.
If you can.
to take a broom and sweep.
Yes. So
it's gonna be interesting to see those characters come together once they start figuring out that Red is a necromancer.
Oh, that'll be
D&D's a lot
too
of fun.
funny.
There are a lot of
I'm glad you all enjoyed that one because I was glad there was a Broomba back in. When I heard there was Broomba, done, and I heard it was flame retardant, I was like, sold.
D&D is super great. Like, I know we mainly focus on video games and whatnot, but seriously, if you like RPGs as a video game format, go find your local, nerd store. Essentially, they usually have D&D games that you can jump in and out of, so you can come and watch, or you can jump straight in the deep end and try it out. But I mean, it's so fun. It's like the most epic RPG ever, and you get to decide everything in it instead of it just being like, well, the game developers wrote this script, you must play this to fruition, just you have like all of these ways you can get there, which is Divinity-esque. Or you have this one way to get there, and that's it, but you can pretend to make choices on your own. This one's all you. Like, they met a spectator in the forest, and the thing is only capable of saying so many things and whatnot, and they asked what its name was, and it didn't have one to give them, so it repeated the last phrase it had said, which was job to do. And then Kaysen and Lee, which would be Red and Chicken, respectively, were like, oh, nice to meet you, job to do. It's like, no, that's not
So his name is Job to do.
Yeah, so they've been talking about Jab that they met in the forest. It's like, that's not
That is his name now.
Job to do.
Well, I mean, what was it? The last campaign that you had where they ended up adopting an NPC.
Yes.
They brought along with him, right?
They straight up kidnapped an NPC in the first session. And then he became, like, the most treasured part of the group. Yeah, D&D's crazy fun. Just go to your local game store. They'll probably be nice. Most of us nerds are. And then,
Most of us are.
Test it out a little bit.
There are those few weirdos who are mean.
But
There's also like the people who play just to kill other players.
murder hobos.
Elitists.
Yeah, we call
That
those
was him
murder
opening
hobos
his
and-
door?
Yeah, Bach is contributing to the ASMR factor of our podcast with this door open shut thing.
It's
And
He's the only one that's allowed to. Rest of us have ice, and that's not going to be able.
Yeah.
I don't have ice.
Letting DJ back in the room so she stop barking.
That's
Pork,
fine.
pork, pork,
In addition to board games, I replayed Prey last weekend, which was 2017 version, because I know it's like it released the same name as a previous game from like 2006 or something. No, the more recent Prey. And I think that part of why I like it, and I mentioned this on Twitter, is that it's essentially space BioShock. You're trapped in a city that's Art Deco, strangely enough, so similar aesthetic too. It's just space versus under the sea. Most of your interactions are over radio. There's not a whole lot of actual direct NPC interaction. Most of it is just your lone protagonist being alone in the city, which forces the city to fill a role of a character, essentially. Most of the stuff you find is via audio logs, and you're trying to put together the events that led to this mass extinction event or whatnot. So they're very similar. And I had not really realized that until this playthrough. I don't know why.
I thought that was
those
interesting
things.
that you were able to see that, but that's also, I mean, you're such a massive BioShock fan. It's really interesting to see that that's how you correlate the two, but I mean, maybe that's part of the design too. I mean, it's
a good design. Like, if you can make the city enough of a thing that it becomes a character like Rapture did, and like they wanted Columbia to, but you had more goings on that Columbia, I think, in BioShock Infinite didn't get to be the character it should have been. But Talos 1 definitely feels like it was meant to be a character, because it's just you and this robot version of you that's talking to you for the most part, January. And that's it. You in the city. Get out there. Go forth. Explore this stuff.
I think with BioShock you do get the Rapture being the main part of its own character for sure, but I think with Columbia it's the people that are inside that become part of that's a little bit different. Like that becomes, instead of it being a floating city that's the main thing, it's the characters that surround or in a part of the city that kind of make it for me.
Well, a lot of the audio logs that you find in Columbia are more about the set piece people like Comstock and Lady Comstock and the Lutesses and whatnot. You're hearing about the NPCs that you know and do interact with, whereas with something like a BioShock or a Prey, you'll get audio logs from people that you'll never, it's just slice of life stuff that makes it a more full picture of what the place was before this, disaster happened. So I think that's why it also lends itself better to making the city a character as opposed to just the NPCs themselves.
On topic question for you, because we've had the discussion before, a possibility of another BioShock style game coming out, like actual BioShock. Mm-hmm. What would be? We've already done the depths of the sea. We've already done the skies. What do you think they would need to explore in order for you to be interested in that? Like, if they could create, let's say, plotline-wise, everything else, go back to the original BioShock, which you absolutely loved, what would they need to create? Like, what kind of world would they need to for you to become
whatever it
interested
is,
to
it just has to be isolated.
I think we need land, because we have sea, air, and space.
Yeah, I mean, you could do...
Because Prey is in space, so
Yeah,
we've got all three. We need land.
Fair enough.
You
So
could
we need
do
land
a
something.
planet
Like a remote
somewhere.
island or something?
Well,
Or...
I don't know. I think island, the problem you run into with an island is that how, I guess, the likelihood that there would be passerbys, whereas these other places have been 100% isolated. Like, there's not going to be in Prey a random spaceship that floats by and they're like, oh, hey, we could save that guy. And it's like, there's no possibility of rescue. It's got to be completely isolated.
Then I don't think there's any other place that you could do it.
Space,
Because
but
sea
it'd
is
be
pure.
another planet.
Prey has already done space, so we've
It
got.
would
no,
have to
it's
be-
like in
I see.
space
Yeah.
versus on a planet in space. There's a difference.
I
Just
feel like
another
there is
world.
a difference in being in space, like in a spaceship, versus in space on a terrestrial planet.
I guess like Doom. right? The Doom 3. That one was you were isolated on the colony on Mars, and you were fucking by yourself. Nobody was coming to help you.
True.
Well, but that's Doom in general. It's just basically Mars and hell. That's the two things you got to know about the game.
Yeah, I think that was Doom 3.
Doom 3 would have been Mars. You're trying to move from one point to the other. Yeah, that's it. Yeah. So, where you got the original, which was fantastic because you had to flip between your flashlight and your gun. You didn't have a choice. It was either flashlight or gun. And then they came up with the BFG version of it, and you had that fucking flashlight attached to you the entire time, and it was annoying.
Yeah, make things easier.
Wearable flashlights.
You just tape it to your shoulder.
Well, actually, this one was in you. Like, if you looked at the mod version of it, Spunky told us that if you looked at the mod version of it, it's just basically as part of your body. It was just sticking out.
I envision it very much when it's things like that. I think Final Fantasy 15 actually nailed that, is because if you're out at night, they're all wearing, like, a flashlight kind of pendant just about that comes on. So it's their hands-free still. I just imagine that that's what every video game protagonist that holds a gun with two hands and a flashlight at the same time is doing. Like, it's somewhere on their person.
Well, I mean, even then, I think Master Chief nailed that too, because it was part of his collar, right? It was that little lights that was right there.
Yeah. I thought it was on his helmet.
Oh yeah, or it might have been on the helmet. Was it on the helmet?
I feel like it was.
But it was still part of whatever his armor that he was wearing versus. Them
to
just
be
being
fair,
like,
it should be a normal part of someone's power armor.
Exoskeleton.
You should have flashlights on it. So.
Yeah. So like, but I mean, that's I don't know. I think that's normal. Is that all the games you had?
Yeah, for the most part. And my sister played Forza a lot. Bought new cars.
Mm-hmm.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
So since the last time you saw me.
Which was like 2 years ago?
Yeah, I know, right? So I beat Spider-Man 2, which I absolutely loved. I highly recommend this game. It's one of the best PlayStation 4 games that's out there. It is a reason to buy the console, in my opinion. Just because I think that you get a feel for the first-party Sony aspect of games. I think Sony has always had really good exclusives. When it comes to their first-party stuff. And in this case, yes, I understand that it's their licensing, because Sony owns the licensing to Spider-Man. I understand that their actual companies didn't make this. Their actual developers didn't make this. But it's absolutely a beautiful game. Well done. Looking forward to a sequel to it. They set the sequel up very nicely. They set DLC up very nicely, which I haven't played yet, but I'm going to play. I started Division 2. Division 2 right now I'm enjoying, but I have a feeling it's going to become Division 1, and the fact that it's going to become the same shit over and over and over and over and over and over again. The one thing that's frustrating to me in the game is they've set it up to where you've got these control points that you can free up. And I'm one of those people, if you give me an open world and it's a battle zone, I understand that if I free up areas of the entire zone, and let's say I free up everything that you've given me in a zone, it should open the entire zone up. It shouldn't be to where that the opposing part can take over an area that's past my control points. Like, I understand them battling for a control point because it's right on a border, with whatever they're controlling. But I don't get them being in the middle of my entire area and taking that over. It makes no sense to me. It's like, how did you get past all of the troops?
Magic.
That makes no sense.
I clearly magic. I
did find some things out about Division 2. My character is not able to jump. He is not able to slide. Okay. He's not able to crouch, but he is able to memorize every code in the entire city for every door ever. So he automatically knows every code to everything. And I feel like it's almost lazy game making in a way, because I get it's a cover shooter and that part doesn't bother me as much. I just like to bitch about it. But give me a reason this guy knows these codes. Like, I don't care if it's being told to him as he's typing the code in, but give me a reason that he knows these codes for every place we go to. Everyone.
I want to know why he just walks into walls that are waist high instead of jumping on them. Like, I don't understand that thought process.
I don't.
What year was this game
know.
made?
Recently,
I mean, we used to joke about
Yeah.
it because, you know, it was the thing. Nobody could jump in the early days of gaming.
And which part of this game
and you can hop
needed
over
a whole
one. You can hop
remake
over one.
from the first one? Like, which part of this you couldn't add on to the first game?
I would say because it's a totally different map. That's
fine.
the only.
Okay, minus
I
the
would
map,
say-
then.
I mean, the map, because you're building an entire world, and it's
That could be an expansion.
being somebody that knows DC pretty well because I used to go there every year. I would say that they've done a really good job of rebuilding that city. I don't know New York that well, so I don't know how well the first one was done. But I can tell you from DC, they did a really good job on creating a apocalyptic looking version of DC. And it's really cool going through the old museums and things like Smithsonian's and stuff like that. And I think that's awesome that you're able to fight through those. But I don't disagree with you. You could have made this a DLC of some sort.
Continue your first game, continue your game, bring your characters over.
Well, they are bringing
area.
characters. They are bringing characters over for the new DLC. They're bringing
characters?
from the New York. No, it's people that you know
Okay.
from New York.
Yeah, see, I want
gonna
player
move over.
characters so that you
But
can
I
get
think people
attached.
wanted the
and you
same
have a
thing with
reason.
Destiny between Destiny 1 and 2 as well.
This kills me with games that try to be MMOs like nowadays. It's if you want to make an MMO, let people make a character and get attached through your series. Stop making characters and then be done with that game and then make a whole new second version of the MMO and start over again. It's not sustainable.
It's not that part doesn't bother me as much because of the fact it's in another place. Had they gone, okay, the problem with Destiny's in the same fucking places. You have Earth, Moon, Mars, all the shit's the same. I think they've added maybe one more planet. That bothers me. But at least Division's going, okay, here's brand new map, so we're going to call it Division 2. And then you could say and then figure out a tie-in between the two.
I
But
feel
your
like
Division agent can get moved.
Or you can
you're being
your agent gets
relocated.
moved from one location to another. I don't disagree with that. But to call it Division 2, I understand. Destiny 2 was literally a fucking DLC from Division 1. From all the fuck-ups they made, they had to make a Destiny 2. And I think that's the difference. It's because it's literally all the same damn places that we're used to going to, with a few exceptions. In Destiny
I would
2.
feel better if it was more of a single-player game. But, I mean, you're just making the same game in a different place. Why not let us make our agents move over so that we can
and you can
feel...
play the game. You can play the game single player and play through. Like I'm playing with my friends on Division 2. I got a friend of mine that she streams on Twitch, and her and I have been playing together because she's been looking for somebody to play with. And I said, okay, well I'll buy it on Xbox so we can play together. And so her and I have played together, and I've enjoyed playing with her and enjoyed moving from point A to point B. The looting system I absolutely love. I love the fact that I can go into a random alleyway and find shit, you know. And
yeah, they got a lot of systems in that game.
yeah,
right?
but breaking
It's just-
a gold, like you see a gold lock, break the gold lock, you know, like it's really cool, and I like exploring the city. I don't like going from point A to point B, clearing out an entire area, and then having to go from point B back to point A the same direction, and have to clear out the area again. That's the dumbest shit ever. It's what I hated about Destiny to start with. Like, I've already cleared out this area. There is no reason, let's say there's a control point or something in between, there's no reason for me to have to fight the same bad guys again. None. Like, that part of
Grinding.
gaming, I don't understand. Yeah, it's
Yeah,
a
it
pure
is
grinding
part-
system when you do that. And it's just like, I don't get it. Like, I just don't understand it. Like, we went through that shit back in the days of respawning, where, like, you knew where the spawn point was for a particular monster, and every time you showed up to that one area, if you went off the screen a little bit and came back, he was coming back. It was going to happen every time. Like, we've gone past that
other
in gaming.
MMOs have things set up where, and still how it's set up, where mobs are going to respawn. Like, you will kill out an area. People use it for farming purposes and things like World of Warcraft and all of that, where you kill out all of these things, and if you're a leather worker, you skin them all, and like 5 minutes later, by the time you're done skinning the last one, they're repopping again, so you just come through and clear them out again. Like, that's...
But I feel like from an MMO standpoint, that you're gonna have that that WoW is an actual MMO, where this is not. This is
But
a
they
game
want it
that's-
to be, and that's the thing,
Yeah,
is
how
they're
many
cherry
people-
picking which
This
parts.
is designed to be a game with service, and that's it.
How,
That's
yeah, okay,
really-
like you said, it's it can be a single player game. You could play by yourself.
Up to
and
4
whatnot.
people.
Okay, yeah. If you want it to be an MMO, those respawns are good because you have a bunch of people in the world moving about, killing things.
Well, and you
things
can
to keep
see, like when you
respawning
get to the White House and stuff like that, it's similar to going to
your base.
to your base, right? So
Yeah.
you go in and you will see other people and stuff then. But in the actual world, they're not out fighting the same people I'm fighting.
Yeah, that's
It's
a
not like they're
huge
randomly
difference.
wandering around. It's only the people that are in part of my group that they're going to be able
I
to
guess
do that.
that's
Or I'm
true.
by
I guess
myself.
that's another one of those departures
Yeah.
where they're like, we're going to call this an MMO, but it's not.
No, it's
Like,
not
it's
massive.
highly
There's no
instanced MMO.
yes, and that's the problem. Like with respawns like that, you could take that away or lessen it a lot when you've just got 4 people who are just going one way, clearing it out, let them run back.
Well,
It's
and
not
here's-
like there's
it-
a bunch of other people killing shit that you
They
need
limit you to
constantly respawn.
4. They limit you to 4 players.
Oh,
Well, here's the fun thing. Like this 4 players going out and just running through the world. That's all you get in your crew,
Ugh.
right? If you do a raid, you have to have 8. So why don't you just make the number 8? So now I invite people in to play the game with me. You make the game a little harder as I go, or whatever it is. We help other people get up to a level. So now we go into a raid. We have the crew that's been working together the whole time instead of 4 group and a 4 group running around.
it should
together.
be 8 people per zone. Like
Right.
at max, 8 people in each area. You don't have to be teamed up or anything. It's just 8 people moving around, playing their game.
Kind of like,
That's it.
sort of what Anthem tried to do, where it's like, you know, when
Yes.
you load in, there'll be this many people.
If there
per...
were more people, like if there were 8 people in the world, then in more of an instance and a live world and things like that. But I don't know. I guess developers just don't think about that. It's like,
Well,
if
I mean, the thing
want
is
people
you
in
turn
your world
around,
to make
like,
it feel
if-
alive.
Well, even then, you set up a system. You go, okay, there's going to be 8 people playing at the same time. Even if I'm showing up by myself, I'm a brand new gamer, never played the game before, have no idea. None of my friends play the game. That's the thought process, right?
Right.
Show up, set me up with 7 other people, and go, okay, 3 of them are going to be Group A. The other 4 are going to be Group B. And Group B has this job. Group A has this job. In order to be able to, like, ultimately this got the same goal. In order, like, let's say B has to get to a point to where they can flip a switch for A to be able to do their job, or whatever it happens
Yeah,
to
but then
be.
you run into, well, A's already finished everything. They're waiting on B. B is fucking around, or B is a lot of more inexperienced
kind of stuff-
players. Like,
That
them
kind of
being
stuff
dependent.
is good for raids and whatnot. But in the open world, it just needs to be 8 people being free to do whatever the fuck they want, and it'd be nice to see other people doing shit too. Oh, that guy's under attack. Let me go help him. Let me flank his enemies and help him out.
Or he's
Things like
going,
that.
this guy's running this direction. He must be going to do the same thing I am. Let me hit him with a message and be like, hey, bro, you want to do this together?
Oh my god, gaming's socializing during gaming. It's a
Right.
foreign concept apparently these
They
days.
don't want us to do that. Why would they want us
Yeah.
to do that?
Well, the
That
thing
would
is
cut the
they
kids
do
go.
and they don't, but they, like, developers seem to want the communication to happen in a very specific and controlled way. And that's...
Which, if you think about the Division, like Division and Division 2 clips that we've seen of the gameplay that they had set up for any of the stuff that they did their shows for, that absolutely explains it. Because they'll be like, yeah, looks like Tim's going over there to the right. Okay, maybe we should go over there too. Over. You know, whatever it is they
Yeah.
say. And I'm like, oh my God, please stop. But along with Division, I also decided to play Forza. I went into, because we talked about it a couple weeks ago, and I was like, I'll go ahead and stream it and have a good time with that. I really enjoy the gameplay on it, and the racing's really fun. I like the elements that they have in that game, as well as the purchases. The only thing I couldn't figure out is why I could buy like a 1969 fucking Ferrari for $30,000 or $50,000, but it costs $500,000 for a Mustang. I feel like the shit's a little off center when it comes to that, but whatever. Prices are way off. Because in real life, I could afford one. In real life, I can't afford the other. Guess what? It's the opposite of the game.
But maybe it depends on with some of that stuff, like what's on the car. I'm learning a lot. So that's why I'm just playing Forza.
Okay.
Like,
Okay, fun
is it
fun
the base
fact.
version?
Go to one of the older Ferraris, which I think is around 100,000. I was exaggerating with the 30,000-40,000, but look at it and go. It's like 100,000 credits that they've got in there, and then go. Why is this cost more than this? And then have her explain, because she knows cars better than you do.
Yeah,
because
she
that's
does.
that's my justification is you can't turn around and go, here's a Mustang GT Pro or whatever the hell it was called, and whatever the other Mustang is they have in there, and both of them are 500,000 credits. And like the only justification I get for it is that is a car that the general public knows and loves.
I think some of it
versus-
too, though, is what they come with their what comes with their loadout that you're buying on them,
Maybe
like their handling and everything. Because that seems to be part of what she looks at too, is like she got a couple of free cars because we finally, like idiots, found the spinny thing that you were talking about.
Oh, you're welcome, by the way.
Yeah, thanks. Took forever. We're just dumb. Whatever.
I was 2 hours in when I found out, so you're
Well, she had
They were like
like
2 days in.
she had like 10 of the super spins and like 25 of the regular ones. So we
Super spins are great.
Yeah, she
Like,
got a bunch
there's
of
lot.
new cars, and so she's like, "Well, I'm gonna try this out." And she got like a couple that she knows what all of these things are. I mean, it's just her thing. But she got a couple. She's like, "These are badass. We're gonna drive. Let's try this." And then she would get out on the road and she'd be like, "Ooh, handling this is garbage. This is terrible. I need to do this. She was like talking about all the ways that you can fix things. And like, this car looks really cool, but you can't fix the handling on it. And so it's just, and so I think some of it maybe has to do with how they actually drive versus what they are. So like, because you're playing a racing game, you know, this car that you think that most people will go, okay, this car is going to be obviously worth more than this car. Because of what you're buying it for, this car is worth more because it's actually better for your purposes than this cool thing.
Well, maybe, but I mean, like I've got a mono, and the mono that I absolutely love it. It's not as fast as some of the cars that are out there, but its handling is absolutely amazing, which is why I can win races with it. And I think that's where I look at those sliders and everything that goes along with it. Now, as for the adjusting, let me tell you, props to your sister, because the adjustment shit that they've got on there, I'm looking at it going, I don't fucking know what to do with this.
She knows what
Like-
it all
Yeah,
does.
yeah, she does.
There's an auto button. Guess what? Motherfucker pushes it. Boop. Done. Auto. Done. You know, but it was cool too, because they have a really good community. So for anybody that does decide to stream this or want to go into a stream, their community is really good. They actually came in and there were people that were in and they were like, okay, try doing this, change this. And there was one guy that came in, he had like 302 of the cars. I mean, it was ridiculous. But we're 99% sure he was also one of those people that go through and go, well, if I pay $100, I can go ahead and get all this shit. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
One of those
Them
type
folks.
people. One of those folks, which is fine. But he understood everything that he was playing and what was going on, and so it was kind of cool to see. But I enjoyed that game a lot. I also played a game that I'd played at PAX West last year that I went ahead and got on the Steam sale. It's called, and it just recently released, which is called Medieval. Medieval it's based on Heretic and the Hexen games, which are old first-person shooter games from the 90s. And I absolutely loved those games. My dad was a big fan of those games. It's very Doomish, if you want to think medieval-looking with wizards and shit. Doom.
Oh, I know which one you're
Did-
talking
did-
about.
did
That-
they do that one on the 64?
I don't know if they did that one or not.
Which one?
To be honest with
I
you, I
think
played
this-
them. I played them.
Hex one.
Hexen. I don't know, because I know I played them on PC, so I'm not 100% sure on that one. You might want to look that one up. But Medieval is that same style, really fun. My favorite feature though, like we started playing and we were having a good time with it and playing, and then I think we were on the second boss, and I was like, let's see what options they got on here. They have the cheat codes listed on there. So you can go through its old school cheat codes. You can type in on your keyboard and pop the stuff up that you want to and go through and play that way. So we played that way a little bit too. That was just absurd. But it was fun. And then I played my friend Pedro, which my friend Pedro has a very unique gaming style to where your best friend is a banana. And he's teaching you. It's a platforming style game. where you do flips and turns and shooting and all that, and it's kind of it's classic platforming, and I absolutely loved it. And it's funny too because I think it might have been you and Chicken and I that we were talking about how do you get good at games, and the answer was play platformers. But that's when we grew up playing games. That's what we had. We had platforming games, and you had to learn to get good at games. And I think that's where this one. It was fun, and to be fair, it was easier than some of the platforming games we played back in the day. But I absolutely enjoyed it, and I'll probably go back to it and Forza both. But that's the game.
Yeah, they did Hexen on the 64.
They did do it on the 64. That's awesome. Like I still haven't. I think I got on PC. I got on my PC now.
That's the first. That's where I played it from.
Yeah,
I rented it.
Yeah, very good game. Like I really like those style of games, and Medieval is right along that same thing. And I'm kind of regretting now because they had an exclusive pin. Like anybody that goes to any of the PAX events knows that they've got the little pins that you could buy, and they had a pin there for a Medieval, and I should have bought it. It was a little axe. It was the starting axe that you get for the thing, but some really cool features in the game, and you can actually jump in that game. It's weird, right? Platforming. Strange.
Jumping
Strange
technology.
I know, right?
I like that we can get a game like Division that will give us groundbreaking door closing technology, but your character can't jump. Like the sacrifice was made, you know?
Yeah, okay, your character can either jump or your character can close a door.
To be fair, for
room full of people go, close the door.
As hyper realistic as they are, your character would probably only be able to like hop with all the
yeah,
stuff
but
that he
then your
carries
character
around.
could at least jump, like climb up over things. Whereas in this case, they
Hey,
probably walk, stop.
You didn't start talking about climbing over things.
This?
We're just talking jumping here, not climbing. It's a whole different level.
Well,
now.
they have a hop, like you can hop over something. So you but you have to. It's not a. You can't be running in a field and jump. You know, that's not a thing.
Do the long
running
jump.
is a thing. Jumping, not a thing. So there you have it. But that's all I got.
All right, Baka, what have you played?
Team Flight Tactics. I played the Vietnam game with you. I played more on Grand Theft Auto, and I downloaded a free Ninja Turtle game.
Oh, is that the one on Xbox? If I'm not mistaken.
No. Well, it's fan made.
Oh.
It doesn't cost anything to download it because otherwise they could get sued. But it's a combination of like the old arcade games, and then they do like the first game on the Nintendo is like a pick your stage kind of a thing. You start out with the four turtles, and as you go through and beat stages, it unlocks more characters for you to play as with their own stats and abilities. Like you can get April, you can get Bebop, Rocksteady, which Rocksteady can, he uses his gun, but that doesn't really have much for close range. Also, on one of the stages, there's these scorpion things, and when you're firing, your shots just go right over them, so you can't hit them.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, then.
You can also get Vernon, which is the whiny human guy that April worked with.
Yes.
What?
That's awesome. Yes.
All of his stats are one. All he does is like this little shin kick. Then that's it. He has no specials, no nothing. I actually went through a level with him and actually beat the boss by the only way I could beat him was I got in a position where his punches and everything were missing my hitbox, but his little shin kick could keep hitting.
Cheese! Baka changed the fight! What?
Yeah. Speaking of cheese, Baka won team fight tactics. He won his first round against me because he was using yordles.
They're so small.
Oh, yordles, man.
That's funny. Do you mind Baka reposting that?
Yordles and Glacial.
Oh yeah. Oh god. Talk about so fucking
So
annoying.
not only could you not hit my yordles, I kept stunning your guys.
Baka, do you mind putting in the Infinite Respawn channel the link to the download for that the
I'll
Teenage
do
Mutant?
that later.
Awesome,
Yeah.
perfect.
That was the
'Cause,
weirdest stage
I wanted to play it too, but it was posted in one of the random chats, and I can't find it anymore. And I was
think
like,
it was under gaming, but the only issue I have with the Ninja Turtle game is I can't seem to get my controller to work for it. I have to use the keyboard. You're supposed to be able to use a controller from what I read, but we've got little USB in Super Nintendo controllers at work. I'm gonna try getting one of those and seeing if that works instead. But it won't recognize the Xbox controller buttons. So.
Gotcha.
that's interesting. For
Well,
sure.
you guys want to talk about some news stuff now that we've been here for 40 minutes?
40 minutes in, and all we talked about was our game.
Hey,
life.
but our last episode was like 40 minutes, so by the end, so we're
Actually, our
talking-
last episode was 0 because we didn't have one.
the last one we
Okay,
recorded.
pick a news story
Smarty.
and let's go.
One that we would have talked about last week, but we didn't get the opportunity to. Epic Games will refund the cost of Kickstarter refunds for the Epic exclusives. So those games that were put on Kickstarter, so we'll say Shenmue in this particular case, they were put on Kickstarter and promised to be on Steam, you'll get your money back. I know you wanted to play Shenmue, but we'll
And
just
that's
give
why
you your money
paid
back.
the Kickstarter stuff for it, but
You
instead,
can play it in a year.
maybe. That's the thing is we have been saying, and a lot of people have been saying things like declaratively that a year after the exclusivity, then it will be on Steam. That is not true. A lot of those games have not confirmed that they will ever appear on Steam.
I feel pretty confident that they will.
I feel
There
like
was a-
Epic may start continuing, like, oh, okay, your year exclusivity is coming up. We will make you another offer. Here's another boatload of cash, because that's what Epic's doing, is they're throwing their cash stick around.
There was another article that would basically talk to a developer that became an Epic exclusive, and pretty much his direct answer was be like, they one, to compete with Steam, you got to throw a lot of money around because nobody is doing it, and two, they offer you a lot of money. What
Here's
are
how
you
you
gonna say,
compete
no?
with another storefront, is offer a fucking comparable product. You're not going to compete if you're a substandard store.
And here's the thing: is Epic has a catalog. It's not like you're turning around and going, "Well, hi, my name is Bob Smith. I'm going to create Bob Smith stores straight off the street, and in order to do that, guess what? I'm a billionaire. Let me go ahead and throw some money at everybody." That's a little different than, "Hey, guess what? I'm a fucking gaming company that owns other gaming companies. Let me go ahead and create an
A
entire
cohesive
catalog."
storefront.
Yeah, storefront based on that are exclusive to my stuff, but I'm going to create and go, look, Steam does a great job with everything that they do. I'm going to do all this. Is there any way for me to make this better? Is there any way for me to make this innovative versus what they do?
Yes.
Tim Sweeney turned around and going, the only way that we can compete against this shit is to throw more money at it, is fucking stupid ass business mindset.
I would not have as much issue with the exclusivity purchases if, one, the storefront was comparable, and two, they weren't buying things that were kickstarted by a community to start with.
Right.
Like, they're completely disregarding any sort of goodwill with the community in order to throw money out so that they can try to force people to their storefront, but their storefront is a very subpar storefront to start with. It doesn't even have a shopping cart. How are you a fucking storefront when you're going to make people buy everything that you want to sell, and you want to sell them a lot because you're buying a lot of exclusivity? Every single game you want them to buy, they have to buy it one at a time, and if they buy more than 5 in one day, you flag their account and suspend them. Please explain to me how that makes any sense for business people. Basically, it is indicative of like why people who don't have money hate people that do have money, is because people who do have money don't understand the problems they're causing, and they just continue to throw cash at things. Like, you're not solving anything, you're not fixing anything, you're just throwing cash out.
True. I'll read the exact tweet from from Tim Sweeney. It was on June 25th. It was a couple weeks ago. We believe there is no set of features which Epic or any other store could add that would be so revolutionary as to lead to a large-scale move of gamers from a dominant storefront to a new one. We believe the lock-in effect of having a large library of games on a dominant storefront is more powerful than features, and hence a dominant store can only be challenged through exclusive. Here's an article where Bill Gates explores a similar topic, and he talks about why Microsoft lost to Android because Android just fucking destroyed the Microsoft phone, the Windows phone.
Mm-hmm.
Because there was nothing that they could do to compete against Android.
Yeah, but at least it was a comparable platform. It had all. It wasn't like Android came in with a phone that could only make phone calls, but you could only make 4 phone calls a day, or it turned your phone off.
But that's the point.
Which, to be fair, as a parent, I probably would enjoy that in about 5 years.
But there was nothing that the Windows phone could add that would make it more desirable than the Android phone. They could be perfectly matches, but everybody's still going with Android because that's what everybody's using.
Like I said, I would have less of an issue with the exclusivity thing, because Steam's going to have exclusives to them too. If they could ever make a third of any game that they make, they would have an exclusive product to sell. And they could offer their own, developers, we're going to pay you this much if you'll, sign an exclusivity contract. If the storefronts were comparable. The problem is the storefront that is garbage as a storefront is the one that's trying to buy everybody's loyalty. How can I be loyal to you if you won't let me buy more than a handful of games?
I do agree that in order to make them comparable, because I'm only mildly playing devil's advocate here, because everybody knows I do not like Epic Store at all. No. But I mean, I understand. But I understand trying to fight against Steam, because Steam is like the fucking giant bulldozer, and everybody else has just plastic cars trying to.
Well, and I understand that, but Epic's trying to make themselves sound like the little guy out there when they're friggin' not.
Yeah, they're definitely not.
Let's put in perspective for an instant too, though. Okay, so there is another store that's out there, GOG.com. Go to GOG Galaxy, be able to purchase the game. CD Projekt Red not only doesn't do exclusives, their own fucking games are on Steam.
It's true.
Yep.
But they're successful. People go to them. Find a niche market.
Yeah, I was about to say it's because they're a niche market. They hit that kind of older school games, which is weird. I find Diablo and like the original Diablo on there weird. I find it odd.
But it's because people know what we're going on there for, and I think that's the thing is you find a niche market. That's how you compete. You don't compete by buying everybody out. You compete by creating an opportunity for somebody to go there that normally wouldn't. Or, giving them an opportunity to go, oh, look, I can go here and all my data is not going to be shared with everybody in fucking China. Yeah. I get it.
My card's not going to be compromised because the security sucks.
Yes.
I mean, it's one of those things where if you can't be innovative, you don't belong in the market. I'm sorry. That's the way it is. If your version of innovation is to throw money at it, you're fucking doing it wrong.
Yeah, I mean, you're
Valve
still causing a problem.
does this. VR is important for gaming. We're going to partner with HTC and we're going to create a product that's awesome. But in the meantime, we're going to create our own product on the backside of it. HTC, we've done a great thing together. Here's our new product that goes along with it. Because they understood the competition has to be there, but they also understand the fact that gaming has to be innovative. The same thing with our storefronts. They have to be innovative.
Yes, exactly.
Yes. And what they do, they just innovated their storefront.
Yeah, shall we move on to the what Steve
see how I did that?
Added?
Yeah, see what I did there?
Yeah, that's perfect. Like you want to talk about changing and adapting. Well, Valve has launched their new recommendation feature, which is called Steam Labs. Showcasing experiments in improving discoverability. It's kind of like a beta test. They come up with this new system and they're trying to test it out and whatnot. To me, it almost feels like Twitter styled recommendations where you get it'll pull up a bunch of recommendations for you and it'll play you as there's 3 different stages. The first one is micro clips, where it'll just give you a page full of games that it thinks you might like, and it's just a 6-second little clip to show you. And I thought 6 seconds would be too short, but it actually gives you a pretty good.
They got that from Vine. Vine was 6-second videos.
Right.
Yeah, like it gives you a quick little snapshot of it, and if you're like, oh, that seems interesting, you click in it, you go into the game. Boom, it shows you the store page, everything about it and whatnot. So, and it gives you a huge list, and you could play it in like threes, or you could just play the whole page at one time, and it'll just play everything. So that's pretty neat. That's just the first step for stage one. The second part is your recommendations, which it tells you your top 50 games that you've played with the most hours in them, and then it has a brain that pulls through all the games in Steam and recommends them based on your sliders, which is popular to niche, older to newer. And you could slide and adjust as you wish, and it will show you.
And what's cool to me is because Chicken and I were playing with this before we started, because he was trying to explain it to me. And as you slide that over, you literally watch the list change.
Yes.
Real time. It changes. Like, it's so cool because you're just, and it's just moving. I think it's so cool. It's like, okay, I want more popular. No, I want more niche. So you can move that around. All right, go ahead.
Like, you could do older niche games, and it'll show you, like, retro style games that they have on there that you would be really interested in. You could also show games with specific tags or exclude games with specific tags and remove your wish list games. So you could basically have specific games that you're looking for. I want 2D platformers, older 2D platformers that are popular. Boom, it'll show you the list of which games are super popular, and then you can, scroll through. With their whole everybody's allowed on Steam thing, I think recommendations like this are extremely important for you to sift through the entire mound of stuff that they have on Steam, which we've been talking about since they've done this. They need to have it so that people can kind of sift through stuff that they want easier. And I can't remember, what was the last one? There's 3 stages, and it doesn't have the 3rd stage on this one. The automated show. Okay, this one is super interesting too. It creates a video. Mine was 24 minutes of
what?
It was 24 minutes of game trailers. Like, I mean, it went through, I think it was like 6 different lists with like 5 or 10 games on each list, and it just kind of does a huge video and puts all these trailers together for you so that you can sit there and be like, all right, I'm just going to watch this and see if there's any games that I'm interested in. And as the trailers play out, on the right side of your screen, it pulls up the store, and as soon as it changes, it pulls up the store. And so that if you're like, oh, cool, click on the store, it'll pause your video, take you to the store page, and you can look through the game, go back, and keep watching. So, another interesting feature. So you have a bunch of different ways to look through recommendations for you. Like, it's your own personal setup by Steam's big brain to find games for you, which is innovative. That's what we talk about. And Steam's got plenty of stuff.
I mean, I'm not saying Steam's perfect, but at least they're still working on things to add to their storefront as they shift features around and whatnot. So, again, a storefront that is worth a damn to start with. Which I also maybe get on board with that first.
Which I also think this is going to coincide with their library update too. Mm. When they do the huge library update, you'll have your recommendations tab where you can just click it, and it'll constantly show you games that you want to see, that you've played and whatnot, and probably some new ones. It's like,
instead of based on their algorithm that's sometimes off.
Yeah, that's why I don't look at any like the Hoonie Pop games and whatnot. You got to be careful, because if you look at it once, they will just flood you like crazy. I looked at one time.
We noticed you accidentally clicked on this. Here's a bunch more.
Yeah, don't click on one. I did it one time, and I had it for like 2 weeks where it was just showing me a bunch of anime games. I was like, no, not interested. No, thank you.
Thank you.
Not now.
Mistakes were made. And it was probably one of those, why does everybody play these? Oh, okay.
Oh, that would be why. Okay.
I got it.
I know it's not in the news stuff that you put up here, but relevant to this conversation I think it was last week, there was the story about G2A and the indie devs, and the indie devs were like, look, if you are going to buy our game on G2A, don't bother, just pirate it instead. Because apparently the whole bullshit with selling fake keys and whatnot hurts indie devs a lot more than it hurts like AAA, and because it's so rampant on that site anyway, like they were basically like, we don't want to have to deal with it. They won't pull our games from it. We've asked them, not to sell our stuff there, but If you want our game and that's where you're going to go to get it, don't. Just pirate it. We'd rather you steal it and not pay us at all than give them anything on the kickback of it.
I can't believe that site's still in business.
G2A was like, they sent out a thing that was like, that's not true. We're not shady. We make sure all of our sellers are verified. It's like, no, you don't. And then there was like another thing that popped up, and it hasn't been 100% verified, but I will mention it because I saw it. But I saw a journalist that had posted something where G2A was basically asking if they could send a positive pre-written article to this guy and basically have him put his name on it and put it on the website as it being, transparent and that G2A is a good site. It's like, that's not...
G2A is not a good site.
It's not a good site. And it's not a good look for you to try to contact people and be like, we wrote this. Will you pretend it's yours?
Ha! We wrote this. Will you write?
Ooh, hold on. We're in a dilemma right now. Hold on. Ready? Apples for apples. If you had to buy a game... And I said, you either have to buy it from G2A or you got to buy it from Epic.
I will pirate that shit.
No.
No,
You have to buy.
No.
You have to
you
buy.
You cannot force me to spend money. I'm not going to spend money with either one of those storefronts. I will just pirate a game or not play it. And being a good person that I am, I'm just not going to play it.
I would save the two of them just because of the fact that Epic is, though a shit company, not going to lie on that one. Of the two of them, I would rather do that than I would G2A.
The lesser of two evils is Epic, because at least it's a big corporation being a bunch of shitheads instead of a bunch of shady back alley working with a bunch of drug dealers kind of shithead. So I mean, you take the lesser of two evils.
If I had a choice between the two, I would take Epic. It doesn't mean I'd choose Epic at all, but it does mean if I had a choice, that would be the one I'd lean toward.
At least if my credit card stuff gets stolen from Epic, I could go after them. But if my credit card gets stolen from G2A, who the fuck am I going to go after? The guy is just going to run. Hey, I don't know what you're talking about. I'd never heard of this guy before. Well, now you're fucked. So at least Epic has some accountability. Exactly. This seller disappeared after he bought his key. Well, what the fuck am I supposed to do now? I'm out $50. Well, I don't know. He just disappeared. He changed his name, moved to fucking the other part of the internet.
Moved to the other part of the internet. I like it.
Exactly.
Before we move to positivity, because that's what all but the next article is. Before we move to positivity, Ubisoft wants to include your music in Watch Dogs Legion. But you came to Infinite Respawn because you wanted to know how we felt about this. All right. Basically, if you think about this, Ubisoft, back in E3 of last year, we gave them shit because they were using is it Hit Record? Yeah, they were using Hit Record in order to be able to find artists that was questionable not whether these people were going to get paid in the first place for the artwork that they had worked so hard to be put in. So basically, it's like entering a contest was the whole thought process, and then you get be part of the game. Well, this year, Ubisoft is doing the same thing again, but this time with Watch Dogs. Now, they've made the statement that you're going to make $2,000 per song that makes it into the final game.
Okay.
All right, but that's split over everyone that makes it into the final game. Now, let's say there's 10 songs chosen, and you're welcome that we're doing this ahead of time. Literally, we had a 15, 20-minute conversation about this ahead of time. Basically, the way this works is this. So let's say you're an artist and you make 5 games for it, all right? And there are another 5 games made by 5 different artists, all right? Well, total, based on that, is $20,000, okay? So out of that $20,000, your 5 games are actually going to make less money each game than the other 5 people based on what they just said, which they're going to split it up over the individuals, not the amount of songs. So you might get 5 in there, but you're not making $10,000. A cut of your $10,000 is going to the other people. So out of 6 people, the $20,000 is being split by 6 based on the way that the article reads and what they're saying. So it's very interesting to see how this is set up, because it's basically you could put more work into it than the other people and did good enough job to get all that in there, but they might end up making more money than you because they have one song that did it. What was it, Chicken, that you had up? You said if you had 5 people and one of the, or 5 songs and one of them was written by somebody else.
Yeah. If you had 6 songs. Well, okay, I'm constantly rereading this, and it's because it's confusing. Okay, in order to make it into this, you got to have a really fucking good song, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, I assume that it's not going to be a single person. A single person would not be able to make a song good enough to get into it, especially when there's going to be groups
Right.
of people that are going to be working. So you get $2,000 to split among everybody who works on this song, and you lose the rights forever to that song. Like, you work your ass off on this song with you and 6 other people. You get $2,000 to split between the 6 people, and you don't even get royalties or anything from it. Like, you just lose it forever. Ubisoft owns full rights to it, and personally, I don't think $2,000 is enough per song, like per group of people who make a song.
But even if you had a group, I mean, let's say you had 5 people work on that group, and you divide that by 5. I mean, you're doing $400 you just made, and you don't get rights to the thing you just made.
Exactly, and who knows how long it takes them to do it. Like, if it takes you like 2 weeks to make this song and you're only getting $400 for it, oh man, oh, you talk about like free labor right there.
Yep.
Yeah, it's nowhere near enough.
But how do you decide what? How do you dictate?
You let them.
Well, here's the problem: is you're trying to pay somebody for a product up front when you don't know the results of that product. I mean, you might pay $2,000 and then half your audience who play this game go, "This song is garbage. Why is it in here?" And
That's fine. You let them have the $2,000, and then let them have rights to it. Like, if that song is so fucking good, let them put it out and gain royalties from it. Don't just take it all from them. Because basically,
to be fair,
and this jingles though, like I think that if you are a person who writes jingles, they pay you for it. You basically sell the jingle to them, and then like if it takes off, if it's the next like I'm loving it or whatever, they'll use it forever, and you'll never see another penny. But because it was a product that you already sold them, so it's theirs now.
No, actually, that's not true, because Marty O'Donnell that wrote the music to Halo, he actually wrote the Flintstones Kids theme that everybody knows.
Wow.
Flintstones
Kids.
They
make those vitamins still?
He wrote. Yes, they do. Actually, there's some of my cabinet outside there.
Okay.
All right, so the Flintstone Kids, he wrote the theme song to that. He still got royalties off of it.
Okay.
So, and he still had rights to it.
The contract.
Yeah, I think it depends on
it's gonna
how
have
you're
to be
selling.
a contractual thing.
But I believe it's one of those where they still have to, because you gotta think about the fact that TV, radio, and that type of media, when it comes to ads and everything else, that has changed. Where video games, which is a newer industry, has not changed as much. And so that's where you come into an issue where you do have these people that have fought so hard for their rights to the art that they've created,
yes,
and done it for a long period of time. We're just now getting to the part where that's coming along with video games. And there's, just like a movie, there's, if you remember how long credits are now at the end of a movie, they've got all these credits and everything that runs along with that. It's the same thing with a video game. Think of how long credits are in a video game versus a movie. To me, they're longer. They might. I might be wrong. It might be the same amount of damn people that make a video game.
Part of it's why it's longer in the video games is because you list all of the localization people and QA testers, whereas you don't have things like that with the movies. So yes, they are
true. But you also have people that have been now we know for a fact that there are people that are subcontracted out that aren't part of the regular organizations. There are organizations that are out there, large organizations that are AAA companies that we know don't want you to know that they're subcontracting people out because they're not supposed to be subcontracting people out. Just saying.
Yeah.
We know that's a thing. So we have to make sure that these people are protected. And right now, what they're doing is they're looking and they're taking musicians basically off the street that are fans, taking advantage of them. But here's the thing. It's a contest again. It's the same thing we ran through with the art that was before. So now, let's say you have 10,000 people that have sent in information. You're going to choose 10? So you got 10,000 people that have sent that in that aren't getting paid with the few 10 that are.
Yep, and all those people that worked on stuff, like, one, they don't get any exposure from it. Like, it's just all that work for nothing. And two, the people who get onto it are going to be like, a bigger group of people who are experts in their field, and are going to, like, all the people that work on it are going to make like $1 or $2. It's like, oh yeah, you spent months working on this song, and then all you did was make a couple dollars from it. I mean that, and you lose rights to it. Like that's the big part of it. Is like you don't even get anything afterwards. So
I just think
you get $1 in exposure.
I just think it's a shady practice. It's the same thing they did with Beyond Good and Evil with the artwork on the sides of the buildings and stuff. And I just don't. They're gonna have to be able to justify this to me. They're just going to. Like, it can't be like. Here's the thing: if I go onto Fiverr and I ask for a specific thing and I don't like what's there, or they misrepresent themselves in some way, I have a possibility of getting my money back that's off there. But I put money into it to start with, to for that person to give me a product. These people are going, I'm going to give you a product with the possibility of getting money.
Yeah.
Right? Versus, I've gotten the money, I just need to give the product that I promised. And I think that's where this runs in. But again, it goes back to people not treating art the same way that they do other fields. And, it's that mentality of, well, it's music and they're a musician. It shouldn't take them but like 10 minutes to figure that out, right? All they're doing is playing an instrument and singing, or before with the Beyond Good and Evil, which is they're an artist. What was it take 15 minutes for them to be able to write out what they thing and send it in there? It's like, you have to be inspired. There's a lot of things that go along with being a musician. There's a lot of things with art in general, but being an artist is not easy. It's not easy work. It's hard work. And it's talented work, and you're wanting to take advantage of these people talented. If you want to pay somebody, you do it yourself. Oh wait, you can't? That's right. You need to pay these fuckers for doing it because they're doing their job. And it's one of those things that just hits home, and it hit home when we talked about it last time, and it's hitting home now because I just think it's where Ubisoft is trying to take advantage of a system that's out there, and they can claim all they want that they're paying the artists and all that. It's fine, but what about the ones that didn't make it? What are they getting? For their time that they put into it. So I mean, and if I'm an artist, I'm not going to do that. I can make however much money on that site without having to deal with Ubisoft at the same time. So I guess well, maybe that's to their advantage. Maybe they got 50 to 100 people that turned them in instead of, thousands because of that mentality.
Right.
So I will be interested to see what happens after both of those games come out, though, because because unless they sign an NDA, I don't see somebody not bitching about that. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Or
and the only way you're going to get me to sign an NDA is if you're handing me money.
Here's a sack load of cash. Now shut up.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, like when you're paying me for my work.
Yes.
It's sack.
Is this Epic?
Is
Yes.
this Epic? No, it's Ubisoft. No, but is it?
Oh.
Is it?
Is this Ubisoft?
You're throwing money at me. I just assumed that it was Epic.
Yes.
That'll come later. All right, that was the last bad news. All right, this week, good news. I guess good news. If you're a big Nintendo Switch fan, which we are, and you're also a big portable fan, and evidently the new Nintendo Switch was too bulky for you, you
it's so
can
tiny
now
already.
Right now move over to the portable only Switch Lite. Which will be coming out in September. They did announce it this week. Some of the things, it doesn't have a docking system. It is a smaller,
no docking system.
Smaller screen. There's no Joy-Cons. It's all one piece. It's all attached. There's no kickstand because there's no need for that. And it's only $100 less.
I think it's weird. For $100, just buy the full thing. Like, it's
Yeah,
not, it's smaller, but it's not
100%.
that much smaller where it's like, it turns into something you can put in your pocket. It's
Also,
still big.
They come in colors.
Also,
Yeah.
you can only play specific games on it. Like, you
Oh.
don't have access to all games.
Yeah,
Like,
that too.
games that require, like, the docking feature, you can't play them. So.
Which, to be fair, I think other than... I don't know of any game that I have that requires
There's a list of games. I can find it real
Arms,
quick.
I think.
ARMS requires it, and then probably the Labo that has the big giant robot or whatever. That one.
Probably the Labo in general, because a lot of
yeah.
It has no Labo support at all.
That's right, because you have to use the Joy-Cons for that. So, That's the only ones I could think of off the top of my head.
Oh, that would explain why they're doing this right now. Okay. It's because Pokemon Sword and Shield are coming out too, and those have always been specific handheld games, and this would be perfect to fit into that instead of making it both.
Well, and this is also what we've said for years too, is the fact that I say years since Switch came out a couple years ago, is the fact that this is moving towards the mobile market. This is going to be your replacement for the 3DS, hands down.
I just feel like the 3DS is more like, I feel like the handhelds ideally are something that you could like slide into a pocket or a small purse. The Switch, even the Lite, is still too big for that. Like, I feel like it's handheld, but I mean, to be fair, a bowling ball is also handheld. You just can't transport it the same way. I mean, it's
you're just mad because women's pockets are so small.
And we get dresses that don't have pockets. I mean, surely that must be my problem. It's not that I'm not,
Exactly.
I'm just not even a fan of handhelds to start with.
You wear a lot of dresses too, so I can understand.
So many dresses. To be fair, I do wear a lot of leggings though, and those don't have pockets.
It's true.
But again, I have a purse, but it'd be like putting a. I don't even know size-wise what to equivalent it to, but it'd be like having two wallets, I guess, in my purse at any given time. Only one of them is inflexible and actually filled with things. It just seems
like my money.
Well, it's smaller than a kitchen sink, so you should be able to fit it in your purse.
Hey, my giant purse is amazing. It was a present, thank you, from Foxy. So, thanks, Foxy. I'm still using my giant purse. And it saved me the other day because I forgot to bring breakfast and there was a granola bar in it still. Yeah.
Who knows how long that thing's been in there.
It couldn't have been that old because it's some of the newer granola bars I bought, so.
I like that it's like, it couldn't have been that old.
Like, it couldn't have been, like, old enough to be out of date because I had just swapped to those brands, so.
So less than 20 years. Got it.
She got it from me 2 years ago.
Oh, too funny. I don't know. Like, I'm interested to see how many people end up purchasing this. I think this is more of a, and I hate to be this
thing.
Well, I think it's a niche thing, but I think it's a kid thing.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure it was cheap to make too. Like, pretty fucking cheap. All you got to do is create a new plastic outer part, and then boom, there you go.
Yeah, I think this is a kid's device. I think this is where those parents that, their kid's been playing whatever, 3DS, whatever, but this is going to be, that Christmas, they're going to be like, oh, look, they've got this new portable Switch, which the other one's portable too, but we don't know these things because
portable.
I'm an uneducated parent. That's what I'm going to do. And
we don't have to worry.
It's only $200 instead of $300.
$80 controller replacements.
There you go.
Because that seems to be the big thing on that one is the kids will break the Joy-Cons, and it's like $80 to replace them.
Well, I guess it's better than the Wii when people were replacing televisions because they weren't putting the strap on their hands.
Hey, it came with a strap though, which means if you broke your television, that was not on Nintendo.
But I still think it's funny as hell that was what was going on with that.
I don't need this stupid.
Especially what was it, the Rabbids game where you had to swing the cow and you had to run across top of the head and do this.
That game was so fun though.
I know, you're the one that introduced me to that game. You came over to the house with your Wii and we played that damn thing, and I was like, well, shit, now I gotta get a Wii. Thanks.
Oh, it was so good.
It was so good. It's such a good game. All right, so it appears as though, speaking of Epic from earlier, we're going to go to a game that is no longer theirs, and gladly. So Gears of War 5, it appears that they're removing all the smoking from the game, and I'm okay with this, just in general, just because I understand it, because you do have, even though kids shouldn't be playing the game, there are going to be parents that aren't going to do that, and it's going to be showing smoking going on.
First of all, there was no smoking in 4 or 5.
Well, yeah, but they said that, so I don't understand why this article is here.
Yeah, I don't understand why they decided to pop this article. Oh, okay, never mind. Now I know why. It's because of the whole Netflix thing. That popped up, so they wanted to kind of ride the coattails of that article that came out too.
Okay, so Netflix is removing smoking from their movies and TV shows, right?
Yes, because okay, we're nerds. Because of Stranger Things, it has a lot of smoking because it's the '80s and it's trying
called
to be
a
real to the
period
time.
piece.
Yeah, I mean, call me crazy, but I think that's what the culture was like in the '80s. So kind of what you expect.
And as discussion we've had before is like, you go to medieval times, let's remove swords
Yeah, no shit.
because they're dangerous. You know, I mean, it's like
People are gonna fight with foam swords. That's what they did back then. They just knock each other out. But seriously,
It's
like
like a Pokemon, they just
okay, I understand that you don't want to have smoking in your game, and you haven't, and that's fine. But one, it shouldn't be an article piece, and two, your game is rated M, so I don't think smoking is that bad, especially when you have chainsaw guns that cut people in half.
I guess
mean-
the difference. Okay,
Okay.
let me play devil's advocate here for just a second. At what convenience store where you can also buy cigarettes do they sell chainsaw guns? I mean, I think part of it's going to be an accessibility issue. One is a little more accessible than the other.
True,
and I'm
but
kind
the
of
game
sad
is
now
rated-
that I can't go to the local convenience store and buy a
Get a
chainsaw
chainsaw
gun.
gun.
I know, right?
Thanks.
One, the game is mature, so it should have mature themes, right? Smoking, alcohol, like what you should take alcohol out of every single game too. Like, when
I'm
does
just
it-
like devil's advocate here.
When-
Don't yell
when-
at me.
when-
Well, he is too. He's just asking back the other direction, which is,
Yeah.
should we remove alcohol from games, knowing
which
that it
point
can be
is it too
purchased
much?
at the local convenience store?
Yeah, like when do we stop cutting off the clouds to make it as
I mean,
soft as possible?
If an underage child goes to a convenience store to purchase cigarettes and alcohol
And chainsaw guns.
and chainsaw guns.
chainsaw guns, they're under 18. So somebody at that place is getting fired.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's true. That's true. So it I mean, to be fair, to buy the cigarettes, it's actually cheap. It's you have to be younger to buy the game than you do to buy the cigarettes and the
Which
alcohol.
is fucked up.
Okay, 19 for those that are listening in other countries.
Oh, okay. I was like, wait, isn't it 18 for?
It's
is it-
19 for tobacco and 21 for alcohol. So
Well, then I was wrong anyway. So
Yeah.
Oh, wait,
so
what? I thought it was 18 for.
I thought it was 2.
nope, it's
For
19
what?
for tobacco.
Purchase.
Tobacco? Not in my original state. It was
Yeah,
18.
in here it's 18.
Okay, well it's 19. State to state, it's usually 19.
Yeah, it's
Yeah, it
state
looks
to
like it's
state.
18 everywhere now. It's strictly prohibited to sell any tobacco product to a person under the age of 18.
Yep. It's 18. 18 and
Ah.
21.
Well, good for them, I guess. That's awesome. High schoolers back to smoking cigarettes, which is why they made it
Well,
19
to be
in the
fair,
first
now
place.
they're marketing things like vaping to them. So smoking's
Yeah.
not cool anymore.
Actually,
It's
no.
vaping.
They've passed
Vaping is
vaping. They've gone to Juuls, which are
Oh, yeah.
electronic cigarettes,
Oh,
which
I
are
was-
different
I
than
don't
vaping.
even know. I thought they were the same thing.
No, they are
anything
not.
That has nicotine in it. They
You
try
need to be an
just-
educated non-parent, okay? I'm just saying
Oh.
right now.
Anyway, to stay on topic, I think this is dumb. I think you got to be careful with how far down this slope you want to go, because I understand not trying to influence the younger people, but the younger people should not be playing this game.
Does it make it more acceptable if you do change it from smoking to vaping? Or juuling?
No.
Is it juuling? Is that what you
No.
call it? Okay.
No.
Well, I mean, that's what I'm
here's the-
saying, though. Like, do you just cut it out altogether? Or
I mean,
do you swap to another product?
statistically speaking, like when it comes to how tobacco is being like sent out right now,
Yeah.
like your electronic cigarettes, Juuls, vaping, all that stuff is actually taken over versus the other options, which are usually
They have.
pipe if you're like a 90-year-old man, but
Or a very cultured hipster.
yeah, very right. I've
Yeah,
seen a few
go
of those when I
hipsters.
was in Seattle, actually.
Yeah, I'm sure you did.
And then
Little outside.
cigars and cigarettes, which socially cigars have always been considered acceptable, which is what the dude in the game
But they
actually
smell
had was a
awful.
cigar. No, they
Well,
smell
it depends.
fantastic.
If you have a
cigarettes
taste
smell
for 'em,
shitty.
yeah.
So cigarettes
either
smell
one.
like piss, literally. Like
I don't like either
it's-
one. I
you're-
think they both smell.
And I mean, the character they're talking about has a chain smoker with an addiction to cigar. That's part of his character. It's okay to have flaws. You're okay to have.
I guess it's how you
vices.
look at those flaws and vices, though, because you can't just be like, it's fine that dude beats his wife. It's a character flaw. That's not okay.
No.
Yeah, but the dude is he's a battle-worn
it's
soldier.
Self-destructive versus other destructive. Like
So it's
everybody
okay.
has.
But you don't want to glorify self-destruction either.
You don't want to glorify war either, and the whole game is based on it.
Like, I mean,
I don't know where to go with this. I don't know anymore. I give up. Leave me
There's
alone.
no winning in
I'm
this
just
scenario.
gonna go to the store, buy a chainsaw gun, okay?
It's because they're trying to make everything too kid friendly. It's like there are adult themes in games for a specific reason. Because as an adult, you can understand the concept. Like, you understand that him smoking, that's a bad habit.
I
It's a bad
guess
habit.
for me
It's not
too,
going to
though,
influence me.
Once I hit 21, 22 years old, I didn't look at media and go, that guy's smoking, which makes him look cool. I want to do that, so I look cool. I guess I'm weird, but none of that really affected me.
I was 9 and calling my mom dumb for smoking. So, I already made my opinion way fucking back then.
I lived in the house with my dad who smoked, so I'm gonna go with not a fan.
Yeah,
I was
I'm
never
gonna go
a
with
fan.
not a fan. I still give my mom shit to this day because she smokes.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
my
my
grandparents
opinion
were
has been made up
smokers,
for
and I
like...
lost one when I was in high school because of it. And so, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
no, like, I've never
I
been okay with
understand
but
the
I think,
bad
like,
parts of
anything like that is one of those things where I'm not really, like, it's one of those things where it's like, that guy's drinking this drink that I hate, but he looks cool, so I'm gonna drink it too. Like,
Exactly.
I feel like we
Alcohol
lean
is
too
so
much
prevalent.
on making things look cool, so that we think that everybody's gonna do it if it looks cool.
I think they should be more worried if like one of the fucking Gears of War characters is drinking White Claw right now more than they should be whether or not fucking having cigarettes going on.
Or if they're smoking cigarettes and getting all powerful, they're like, I need my cigarette
well,
power.
yeah, a lot of times,
smoke.
you know, there's gonna be a negative
Gears of War
effect with that.
Popeye.
Yeah, Gears of War.
To be fair, a good Popeye game with eating his spinach and making him strong would have been fantastic.
Yeah, there we go. Give me a second. I need to pop over this can of spinach.
I
All right,
just
let's
want
go
to
fight
know.
this.
I think if we're gonna take out all of the bad character flaws, and this is a question for everybody listening, watching as well, what do you replace it with that's wholesome instead? Like, this guy's character flaw, he's a battle grizzled, war torn old guy, and his flaw is that he eats pies nonstop. He's always got a slice of pie.
Anime likes
That
to
promotes
replace-
obesity.
Damn it.
Yeah, I was gonna say anime likes to replace cigarettes and things like that with lollipops and suckers.
That's true. I've been seeing a lot of that. But again, we're
Not
going
even
to go
gonna
with
talk
chickens,
about whether
you know, like it's gonna
That promotes
promote
obesity.
So okay, so instead,
Hold
like,
on. We could go the was it
Vices are bad things, people.
Right?
You can't make good
Sylvester
vices.
Sylvester Stallone in the movie Cobra had a matchstick that he chewed on, so you could just change them to toothpicks. That's my thought process. And then it's good hygiene for your teeth because you're keeping your teeth clean. So therefore, that's what you're promoting.
That's not a vice.
No, it's not a vice. You're replacing the vice with something that is decent.
it's wholesome. You're changing it from a vice
Okay,
to something good.
where's the character flaw? Where's the identity that I can connect myself with?
He's a soldier that shoots people.
So
That's
all
not
do
a
that.
big enough character flaw.
They all
Maybe
do
it's
that.
just trying to teach you that, you know, even with all of these bad things, you can still do good things and try to even yourself out in the middle. So, like, instead of coming home from your arduous day at whatever job X,
What
you
bad
just
things,
get...
though? Killing people? We do
Yeah,
that
you
in
just,
all
like,
of our
eat
video
carrots
games. We chop
instead
up
of-
people with chainsaw guns, too.
I tell you what I'm changing, though. Like, if you think about it, and think about this for a character, it's not a character flaw, but if we're going the wholesome route, right? You have a guy that he carries a backpack around with him everywhere. Nobody's allowed to touch the backpack. And we find out later he's got apples in it because he's eating the apples for health.
Yeah.
Right?
Apple a
So
day,
he
man.
just apple a day, you know? Nobody's allowed to touch his backpack. It's got his apples in it.
Only if he beats up everybody that tries to look in it. Like,
Right?
He's
It's a
overly
character
protected.
flaw.
Like,
How
yeah,
funny-
that's a
there's his character flaw.
Like, he
You can't
beats
have
the
my
shit out
apples.
of, don't touch my backpack.
Or a
and
guy
beats
who
the shit out of
always
He
him.
has
bruises
to-
them so his apples aren't bruised. Huh?
Exactly.
Or you have a guy that
So
like has to
fucked up.
have gum instead of cigarettes. He has to have gum constantly, and if he doesn't have gum, he gets really irritated and just randomly lashes out and yells at people.
Okay, that's promoting addiction. We don't want to promote addiction.
You're addicted to the apples. You're beating people up for your backpack of apples, but bubble gum is where you draw the line.
Yes, because bubblegum doesn't give you any nutritional value.
Yeah, but I mean, if
Apples
you're eating
keep the
something
doctor
like,
away.
like one of the teeth cleaning bubble gums, then you know.
Well,
it's not bubble
okay,
gum, it's
let's
just
put it
gum,
this
but-
way. All right, hold on. Most of us, if we haven't eaten, we get angry because we're hungry.
We're hangry.
We're hangry. Hangry, right? So we get to the hangry mode. So therefore, what we do is this guy has the gum there because he has to eat a lot because he's this big, massive dude, and he knows he can't. So they give him the gum to keep him from getting hangry.
Yeah.
So when they're in battle, they take the gum away from him.
And he like hulks out.
Right? See, we got this.
We can totally make
Hobos on a
everything
train.
wholesome.
You don't want to know. We'll put it in hobos on a train. Boom, done.
It's one of
part
the
of our
hobo
game.
superpowers.
Right.
Hey, that promotes poverty. We shouldn't do hobos anymore. We should do rich people riding in a luxury car. Oh wait, that promotes rich people. Let's
You don't know how
It's
hobos
also
on
the
a train
premise of
works,
Final
sir.
Fantasy 15, so
Oh yeah, that's true. Oh my god. We just got to be careful with, like, I understand, not trying to promote smoking because it is a very bad habit, but parents should be like, hey, you're not playing this game. 2, let's not promote smoking.
It's a horrible habit, but it's a personal choice as an adult.
Yes.
Like
yeah,
it's,
I guess that's true.
Like, I mean, my thought process, like I don't like smoking. I've never liked smoking, and I like going into, and I mean, I don't think it's a secret that I like going out and having a good drink and hanging out with my friends at a bar. But
like it
I like to go into the bars that don't have smoking because I don't like to smell like a chimney when I get home. There used to be a place, actually, Grif and I back in the day, when
yeah, I know what you're talking about.
we would go to a location here in town to hang out with some friends of ours that happened to be in a band, and we would hang out there. Literally, we would get home and have to burn our clothes. It was horrible.
No, I didn't burn my clothes, but you actually did. Like, as soon as you came in, there was no like, I'm exhausted, I just got home at 3 a.m. Let me go straight
You
to
had to
bed.
wash your clothes.
You had to put the clothes in the wash and get in the shower, or else.
I've taken
Ugh.
so many showers at 3 a.m. because of that damn place. But yeah, so
It's
there you
a
have it.
choice.
It is a choice.
Yeah.
It's a personal.
And
choice.
here's
And kids
here's
shouldn't
an
play it.
interesting side note on that. Chicken and I played Gears of War 4 together, and he mentioned there was no smoking in Gears of War 4 either. This is how much of a non-issue it is. Had he not mentioned it, I never would have thought about it. I didn't notice one way or the other that people were or were not smoking.
And that-
it has
Well, and
literally
the guy
no
actually
effect
says
on
in the
me.
article, he said he was like, the guy from Coalition was like, I'm against it. I'm totally against it. So that's why it's not in our games.
Like, that's
Well,
fine,
shit.
but you don't need an article
Where were we
about
at
this.
3 years ago?
IGN decided to make an article about it because, and like I said, because of the Stranger Things thing. Because they came out because apparently they got a bunch of backlash because Stranger Things is more kid friendly and there was a lot of smoking in it. But
It's the
it's a
80s.
period piece. It's the 80s. You can't go back in time
Here,
to
let
change
me,
the way
let
the
me blow
80s
your
were.
little children's minds for a minute. You know, way back in the day, in like the 60s and 70s, you could smoke on airplanes.
Yeah. Did you know that a lot of kids smoked way back then too? They started like 12, 13.
Yep.
Yeah.
You know, kids
It's
also
part of
had
the
jobs by
time.
12 and 13. I'm saying go get
Yep.
a job, children. Stop living off your parents' time.
Yeah, like you were
I
12.
mean,
then
I
you were
literally
way
told
past
my
your
kid
age.
yesterday to let them know that they would have a job in any other country in the world, so they need to shut up.
Yeah.
Rude.
Well, I mean, they
Like
were
savage
taking
parenting.
advantage of me. I was savage. It's
I
what it
mean,
was.
that's what it is, and it's just part of the world, I guess. Because no matter what, like we might get rid of cigarettes, but tobacco is always going to be around. Cigars are always going to be around, and the other one that is becoming legal in certain states is going to be around too. So
Yeah. Well, I mean, and that's the.
I would be okay
things
if
legal.
Juuls and vaping was not around forever, though.
I-
I'd be okay
okay.
without those.
my
Juul's
main
not a big
thing-
deal, to be honest.
I just
Remove
think they make
the
it
nicotine.
look dumb.
Remove nicotine from it. That's where you start crossing the line because you're forcing your product to become addictive rather than a choice.
Yeah, but you have a choice whether you start it or not. So it's like
True,
turn
but
around
then
and go.
after-
Like if I go in, here's the thing: if I go out and have a beer, okay, I'm making the choice to make a beer. Now,
Make a beer.
Granted, I know that doesn't make me an alcoholic, but it is a possibility that if you are susceptible to becoming an alcoholic, you probably shouldn't be drinking.
Right.
But how do you know that you're susceptible? Because some people don't.
Because
know.
that is actually because people that are alcoholics, it's a disease. It's actually part of your it's inherited.
More people are susceptible to becoming addicted to things.
Can you
it's
get
like
tested
gambling.
for that early? I mean, well, what I'm saying is if you don't
family.
know, well, if you don't know your family lineage very well,
I don't think you
how
can,
do
to be
you
honest
know?
with you.
No, it's
think you can.
okay. There's a lot of factors in there, like
Okay,
psychological
this is
factors
getting
or
into
state-
science territory.
okay.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I'll go look it up. I'll Google it.
Just remove nicotine from it and let people, smoke for whatever reason they want to, rather
I
than
think you
feeling
still
the
run
need
it-
to.
Yeah, but I think you still have the problem. I mean, nicotine. People
'Cause I
like
guess
the feeling of
alcohol is-
nicotine. It's a drug. I mean, it's the same thing as alcohol. It's a type of drug, and it makes you feel a certain way, and people like it. And the thing is as long as you're promoting it as such, which I think is part of the problem that Juul and other electronic cigarettes get into, is the fact that they're not promoting it that way. And when you have something like this, it's not a video game's fault. It's the same thing. It's this is the violence argument, folks. This is exactly the
I
violence
would
argument.
definitely agree with that. It's you're trying to say that it's causation because you see it glorified in a certain medium.
Yes.
You're gonna go and do it, but at the same time, the medium that's glorifying it has a lot of other questionable things that you're not doing.
Yeah,
obviously.
no shit, like killing people. It doesn't cause the video games don't cause violence. It has been proven. I also put a couple of studies in the Discord and whatnot that have actually fully proven. Well, also the gambling thing. It has proven that if you are younger and play with loot boxes and whatnot, you're more inclined to become addicted to gambling as you get older. So yes, that is scientifically proven. Loot boxes
your
promote
brain
gambling.
is still developing, and while it's releasing those things constantly.
Yep, and
Correct.
then you're more susceptible to later. But the violence one, it is not correlated. Gambling is correlated to video games and loot boxes, but it's more or less the tactics of loot boxes, not the game itself.
Right.
So that's where you got to make that separation. And games don't cause violence. Period. It's been proven. Science now, bitch.
All right. Well, we're at an hour and a half,
An
and I'm
hour
still
and a
gonna
half.
go record Red
Well-
Dead today. So
One last thing, and then we're out of here.
okay.
Amazon is co-developing a free-to-play Lord of the Rings MMO, so we might get a new MMO
Yeah,
into the world. And looks like
they've already done a Lord of the Rings in MMO.
It'd be another
this
Lord of the Rings.
this will be another one. The other one died.
Yeah. Well, I've already got my MMO planned for exactly 1 month and 3 days.
He's
1
like,
month
let me
and
look at
3
this
days,
calendar real quick.
and I'm hitting it. I can't wait. I'm so excited. You can even download it on the Blizzard client already. I'm ready. This guy is ready.
Perfect. Anything else? Anybody wants to
No,
add?
that should be it. Hour and a half in. Let's wrap this thing up.
We appreciate everybody that hangs out each and every week in Infinite Respawn. As always, you can check us out on Twitter at InfiniteResPC. You can check me out personally at MDB Oaktree. Check out Grif.
At Grif Slanum.
Check out Chicken.
At Elite Chicken 313.
Check out Baka.
Pickle.
Also, make sure that you go to Grif's YouTube channel. She just mentioned she's playing through Red Dead Redemption 2, which she'll probably be playing for the next 6 years based on how long that game is and how many episodes she's got to go through. She'll be fine with it. It's no big deal. So make sure that you check those out. Good opportunity to go back through her backlog as well and see a lot of the awesome games that she's played through. Too. Make sure you go to twitch.tv/EliteChicken313. Chicken, what you got this week?
Right now it's going to be. I'm still thinking about playing. Oh, I wonder if I did play Rising Storm last night. Interesting. Then Team Fight Tactics at least for the rest of the week.
Awesome. All right. So make sure that you go to mixer.com/MDB Oaktree. I'll start back up Monday, playing through Forza 4, and then start some more Division 2 as I try to make it through the plot line for it and try to get to level 30, which I'm pretty close on. And then be moving to some type of single player game. We'll figure out what that one is. As I remodel my entire downstairs. Sounds like fun, right? I was up until 4 a.m. painting. So that's not fun. For Infinite Respawn, I'm Oaktree.
I'm Grif.
I'm Chicken.
I'm Baco.
Bye.
See ya.
Bye.
Please hang up and try again.